She stood in the cold rain outside her glass office tower, clutching her chest not because of the chill, but because of the pain that never seemed to leave her. The powerful CEO everyone feared and respected, Elena Ward, had everything: wealth, a black card that could buy anything, and a reputation that could destroy anyone. But what no one knew was that her heart was failing, not medically, but emotionally. She had built her empire on control, on silence, and on burying her feelings so deep that even she couldn't find them anymore. Until one day, fate brought her face to face with a man who didn't care who she was, what she owned, or how much she could offer. A single dad with tired eyes, rough hands, and a quiet strength, the only person who could heal her, not with medicine or money, but with something no one had ever given her. Truth: Elena Ward's world was made of glass and gold. Everything about her life screamed perfection: her designer suits, her immaculate office overlooking the city, her private jet, her silent entourage. But perfection had a price. Every night, she went home to a house too big and too quiet, where the echoes of her own loneliness filled the marble halls. Her assistant, Lydia, worried about her, but Elena dismissed it. "I'm fine," she'd say. Those two words were her armor. That morning, her body betrayed her. She collapsed during a meeting, her breath hitching, her hand clutching her chest. Panic spread across the room, executives froze, and before she knew it, she was in the back of an ambulance. The doctor's words later were blunt: "You need rest, Ms. Ward. You're burning out. Stress is killing you." But rest wasn't in her vocabulary. She had built herself from nothing, and stopping meant falling apart. It was Lydia who convinced her to go to the countryside just for a few days. "There's a retreat there," she said softly, "run by a former medic who helps people recover, not with pills, but with peace." Elena almost laughed. She didn't believe in peace. She believed in power. But exhaustion finally won. She agreed, reluctantly. The place was nothing like she imagined. A small wooden cabin by a lake, surrounded by pine trees and silence. No Wi-Fi, no meetings, no walls of glass, just life in its rawest form. That's where she met him, Noah Turner. A single dad, fixing the fence outside with a hammer and a quiet focus that reminded her of something she'd lost long ago: purpose. His son, Liam, ran around barefoot, laughing as if the world had no pain in it. Noah looked up when she arrived. "You must be the CEO Lydia called about," he said simply, wiping his hands on his jeans. His voice wasn't impressed, just calm. "Leave your phone. Leave your titles. Out here, you're just human." Elena frowned, insulted at first. But there was something about his eyes, kind but firm, as if he'd seen too much to care about surface things. She didn't realize then that he had once been a trauma medic, someone who healed bodies and souls, until tragedy took his wife, leaving him to raise Liam alone. He left everything behind after that. Days passed slowly. Noah didn't ask her about business or success. He taught her to breathe again, literally. To walk barefoot by the lake, to chop vegetables instead of signing contracts, to talk to his son about simple things. At first, she resisted. "This is absurd," she said one evening as they sat by a campfire. "I'm wasting time." Noah looked at her through the flames. "Time's the only thing you can't buy, Elena. Maybe that's why it scares you." His words hit her harder than she expected. She stayed quiet, staring into the fire, realizing she hadn't truly felt anything in years. That night, when she lay in the simple wooden cabin, she cried, not the polite tears she hid at charity events, but deep, aching ones. Over the next few days, something inside her began to change. She woke up early to help Liam feed the chickens, she laughed when Noah teased her about city life, and for the first time in a decade, she felt alive. When her driver arrived to take her back to the city, she hesitated. She wasn't ready to go back, but she did. Life demanded it. The board, the meetings, the empire. Weeks passed. But the old rhythm didn't fit anymore. The office lights felt too harsh, the silence too heavy. Then one evening, as she was leaving work, she found herself driving, without planning, back to that small cabin by the lake. Noah was there, fixing the roof, his son waving excitedly when he saw her car. "You came back," he said quietly, almost as if he'd been expecting it. Elena took a deep breath. "You told me once I couldn't buy time," she said. She pulled out her black card, the symbol of her power, her wealth, her entire life. She handed it to him. "This can buy anything in the world, except peace. And that's what you gave me. How do I pay you back?" Noah looked at the card, then back at her. "You don't owe me anything," he said gently. "Just don't forget what you learned here. That's all the payment I need." She shook her head, her voice breaking. You don't understand. You healed me. You reminded me what being human feels like. He smiled faintly. Then maybe you should start living like one. That night, as the three of them sat together by the fire, the powerful CEO, the humble single dad, and the little boy who tied them both together, Elena realized the truth: healing doesn't come from money, power, or success. It comes from connection, from pain shared and hearts opened. Months later, her company transformed. She started new programs to help burnout employees find balance, funded wellness retreats for single parents, and quietly donated millions under Noah's son's name. She still worked hard, but now, she lived harder, and sometimes, late at night, she'd look at that black card, now tucked away in a drawer, and smile. Because she'd learned the most priceless lesson of all: the man who refused her money gave her something far greater, a reason to breathe again. The CEO had offered him her black card. But the single dad, he was the only cure she ever needed.